jumping Jillikers, Radioactive Man. What's going on my booktubers, graphic novel lovers, comic lovers, DC fans, Marvel fans, it don't matter, action comic fans, I don't care. Welcome to Reviews from the Six. My name is Cedric, and today I'll be giving you my impression / review on Radioactive Man. And this issue is called Man of Radioactivity. I had a good time reading this. Honestly, I was kind of shocked that it was that good or this good. So, of course, everybody knows Radioactive Man from The Simpsons, right? But on The Simpsons, I swear he's Russian, right? Or something like that. He has an accent. And then at one point, I thought it was Homer. And then at one point, I thought it was Bart. But in the comics, it's something totally different, which I really do enjoy, because it's like the creators of The Simpsons grabbed all their characters and kind of just meshed them. So it isn't just like, we all know how Bart is, right? But it isn't just Bart. It's Bart with a little bit of Smithers in there, with a little bit of Lenny in there. I mean, it's pretty cool the way I broke it down from reading it. But long story short, the book is about, or this issue is about the forever formula that the doctor had created. So the forever formula takes, not radioactivity, but it is radioactive, but it takes atoms and it recreates, animals that aren't alive anymore. So extinct animals, pretty much. So the scientist tries to bring the dinosaurs back to life. However, you have to remember, Radioactive Man, he fights the Cold War. There's a lot of foreign wars that he fights, and due to the radioactivity, he had to do a lot with the atom bomb. So at this point in time in the world, every nation had an atom bomb, or some type of, not virus, but some type of chemical that was just gonna do mass destruction. And so he's built on that, right? So he has that in his mentality. So what the doctor is doing is saying, hey, we need to create something just in case if something does happen, we can bring people back to life, right? But instead, he experiments on other things. And it's kind of self-explanatory. As you see on the cover here, there are dinosaurs. So yes, he starts sampling on, or experimenting on dinosaurs. But here's the thing though. Not everything seems like what it's supposed to be, right? So remember, Radioactive Man, he's used to fighting, not Confederates, but Soviets and so forth. So there's a character in here where he becomes very suspicious of. He's like, wait, what's that guy's name? Why is he talking like that? And he's doing what here? No, we need to keep an eye on him, right? And then they kind of throw in a little Inspector Gadget. So you remember how in Inspector Gadget, he would read his mission and then they would explode? Something similar like that with the villain. The villain kind of goes off. And then he's introduced as the villain, but he's on the low, right? Long story short, what I really enjoyed about this comic series is that Radioactive Man is fighting things that he cannot see, or that only he can see, and no one else can see these things. So there's parts of this comic where it's just hilarious. There's a part where he's in a restaurant, and he's just swinging. And everybody's like, what's going on? And he's crashing into tables, into walls. He's flying through the ceiling. It's insane. He's really thinking there are things there, but they aren't. So everybody's looking like something's wrong with him. So they label him insane. I really enjoyed this a lot. I would say the only thing, back to the dinosaurs. So I would say when it comes to the dinosaurs, what I really enjoyed about the dinosaurs, as you can see, they have some of the characters' faces on there, is that you have to remember that the dinosaurs are prehistoric, they're ancient, right? So if you're going to bring something ancient to life, how would they act? It's kind of like today's society. You hear people always like, oh, those darn, generation, whatever, what it is, those millennials, I can't stand them. It's kind of the same with the dinosaurs. They come and they're like these Homo sapiens and so forth. And they experiment with relatives. So it's just intriguing how everything went, and the comedy in here too. I was more so focused on the comedy. One of the things that kind of threw me for a loop in this comic is that you have to remember the time and the age that it happened in. They're even telling you if there's an atom bomb threat or nuclear war, what to do, what are atoms, what else can I say? What are atoms? What's not being toxic, but when you get contaminated, You know, what should you do when you get contaminated? What should you do when you're at school and there's a threat of an atom bomb? What should you do if a threat comes from this nation? Like, there's a lot in this comic, and I was just kind of like, oh, cool. Like, I'll show you a little bit. Like the first page right here, right? I don't know if you guys can really see that, but they're talking about a nuclear war and what's going to happen if a nuclear war broke out, what you should do if a nuclear war were to happen. And it was just pretty cool, man. I really did enjoy it. I would say my biggest drawback from this is the key, right? So you see the key here. And even at the bottom, it reads, the eradicated crusader is challenged by impractical dinosaurs who are trying to unlock the secret of the golden key. So now maybe that's where I need to read a little bit more into Radioactive Man, because out of the blue, he had a key. Now, I was kind of like, wait, what? Like, where did this key come from? The dude was just over here and they had him on lockdown. Now they're free and he has a key and there's a door. Where did this door come from? Where did this key come from? Now the door is kind of self-explanatory. You're like, okay, I can see why there's a door. You know, it's like a secret layer, but where did the key come from? Like, they just magically came up with a key, which leads us into Fallout Boy. So his sidekick is Fallout Boy, and I totally forgot about that too. Like, even on the Simpsons series, he has a sidekick, but I forgot the name of him. Maybe it is Fallout Boy, but you know, Fallout Boy's in here, and he's kind of like I said, back to that whole millennial thing, right? Radioactive Man is calling him like chum, like little boy, like he's saying that young man, and Radioactive Man is like, yo, don't, or not Radioactive Man, but a Fallout Boy is like, yo, don't call me that. I got a name. I'm Fallout Boy. You know what I mean? So it was just a lot. Like, when you go back in this time, you realize that history kind of repeats itself, you know? And like I said, it was just information in here that I thought was pretty cool that I never really read or really thought about, you know, especially with us going through COVID and everything. I will say that to me, it is a bit like Batman and Robin chemistry, which I really, really dig, because even Radioactive Man, you know, jumping Jillikers, and he, you know, he had catchphrases like that, up and at 'em, which I thought was pretty cool, you know, up and at them, but it's up and at them, which is kind of funny because if you watch the series, there's like an episode where they're trying to get Radioactive Man to say up and at them, but he's like up and at them, like he just can't do it. So yeah, with that being said, man, you made it this far, so that means you're tribe. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And down in the comments, let me know what you thought about this series, what you thought about this issue, what you thought about this impression. What should I read next? Like, should I read a previous story which includes the key in there? I'm not too sure about that. Also, make sure you share this video to any and all social media platforms and to anyone where you think this video would be useful for. And with that being said, y'all, make sure you like the video. Can't leave that out. Like the video because you know the algorithm. But with that being said, y'all, peace, love, and blessings.